this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the f just happened, but I don't really care. I'm gonna get the f up out of here. This shit, I'm out.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. And I don't know if you knew this, but Home Depot, you know, the place where you can usually drive around in the parking lot and find some people to complete your construction project for cash who may or may not be documented. They decided to put out a pamphlet shaming their employees and discussing what they refer to as their white privilege. I don't know about you, and this isn't to throw any shade at anybody who works at Home Depot. I mean, I worked at Menards. It's a big box store, whatever. But I'm not exactly sure people that work retail are living a life of privilege. All right. I mean, imagine you're an hourly employee, part-time employee at Home Depot. I don't know what you'd make as a part-time employee. When I worked at Menards, they had like a higher pay scale for the weekends, so I always worked weekends. I actually got paid pretty good. This is like 10 years ago, I think. I mean, it was while I was still in college, but I think I got paid like $12 an hour, $13 an hour to check people out. But anyway, and of course the backlash has been swift and rightful. You see Home Depot slammed for shaming employees for their, quote, white privilege. And we've got, obviously, the document, which we're going to take a look. But what's interesting to me is that the overwhelming majority of the people talking about this on Twitter are like the exact kind of lunatics you would expect. They're basically saying, oh, well, if you're mad about this, then you're probably privileged. Look, I'm not mad about it. I don't work there. I guarantee you I have viewers that work there, and they probably don't care for it. A lot of white people saying, if you're triggered by this so-called Home Depot privilege guide, then most likely you suffer from white privilege. Can you tell me how white privilege matters when you're working freaking retail? If you're a part-time worker, I don't know how many full-timers an average Home Depot goes. Usually when I go there, it takes about 45 minutes to find the one person who's actually working the floor if I need to find something. But I don't know, you know, and again, Serious Woke Black writes, if this Home Depot privilege guide upsets you, you're the reason why it's needed. Yeah, I love it when people tell me that, you know, I was given things in life, or that, you know, I had some sort of a head start because of the color of my skin. When that obviously, maybe it's true for some people, but it's certainly not true for me. My parents worked in factories. The biggest privilege I had was probably my parents staying together. And that has nothing to do with any of our skin colors, okay? I washed dishes. I worked when I was 13 years old. My parents drove me to get me a work permit. I washed dishes at several Greek restaurants. I washed dishes at a local pub. Then I got a job at Office Max. Then after Office Max, I worked at a pizza joint and a computer repair joint at the same time. After college, I worked at a car dealership. During college, I worked at Walmart. And then when I moved, I worked at Menards. Does any of this sound privileged to you? I didn't get any scholarships. I paid for my college out of my own pocket. So yeah, I think people don't like it when you say that they've had some sort of head start over a characteristic of their body that they have no control of. You see, so for everyone declaring they're not shopping at Home Depot because they tried to do some lazy, half-reared anti-racism education, wait till you guys find out how BIPOC people are racially profiled at your favorite big box stores on a daily basis. Hey, I don't agree with that either. Again, these things are not related. Now, if you have a retail environment and, you know, usually where I worked, it was white folks that were stealing stuff far more often. I don't know where other people work, but, you know, I don't think anyone should be profiling. To me, because I actually had LP training, it never had anything to do with their skin color. It was usually how they dressed. Are you wearing a winter coat in July? Are you wearing extremely baggy clothes? Are you milling around a lot? Are you taking merchandise into the bathroom? None of these things have anything to do with skin color, but they all are strong factors in who's going to steal from you. But again, Jennifer Ellie has probably never worked retail, because if you worked retail, then you'd also know that the overwhelming majority of shrink or theft comes from internal employees and not customers walking in. No one likes to get pre-qualified when they're buying stuff either. It happened to me. I dress like I dress. Well, I was 3, 4, 5 years ago. I wanted to, like, me and my wife were buying a car, and it was an Audi S4, and the guy at the dealership was like, are you basically like an S4? It's not even, by the way, that crazy expensive of a car. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not like a Lamborghini or something. And I was going to lease it. And he pre-qualified us. And so we went to the only other Audi dealership in the state and bought it there an hour later. Clearly that idiot salesman pre-qualified me. Anyway, pre-qualifying is a huge pet peeve of mine. That was a weird rant. But anyway, why did Home Depot release a, quote, privilege guide that goes after whites and Christians? Again, a lot of these self-hating white people see a lot of people triggered. I'm not triggered. I mean, if I worked at Home Depot, I can guarantee you I'd be quitting. I mean, remember, we're in the Bidenomics era where the job market is as good as it's ever been, probably in history. You see libs of TikTok posting, leading practices unpacking privilege, social privilege, special unearned advantages, or entitlement used to one's own benefit to the detriment of others. By the way, again, I've worked retail and I've also worked like home construction retail. Nobody that I ever encountered seemed privileged to me. Most people that I interacted with customers were either people that were doing their own repairs because there was something they enjoyed doing, or they couldn't afford to hire some expensive contractor to do the work, or it'd be the contractors in there who are grinding, 100 hours a week working, buying their supplies. You see, check your privilege. Are you white? Bam, privileged. Are you male? Bam, double privileged. Do you have now class privilege is actually a thing? I would argue. There's a reason Jussie Smollett got the sentence he did, and it's because he has a ton of money. Okay? Justice, while it shouldn't, is a sliding scale based on how much money you have and how much, attorneys you can tie up the court with. That I agree with. Are you hetero? Bam, privilege. Hetero privilege? What? You're joking, right? Are you cisgender? That's privilege. If you're confident that the police exist to protect you, you have white privilege. What if you're black and you support police? There are lots of black folks that support police. Do they have white privilege? If while growing up, college was an expectation of you and not a dream, you had class privilege. That's also a joke. I went to community college. It was $1,500 per semester. I worked and I afforded going to college working at an office supply store. Anybody can afford to go to college. That's no excuse. You find a way. Or right when you're 17, 18, you save your money instead of spending it on video games and packages of oregano, right? You save and you go to college. There's absolutely nothing about being white that makes that easier. Go to work, save your money, and go to college. You don't need to go to a stupid 4-year university that charges $30,000 a year. Or, this may be shocking, it's coming from Home Depot, but you could go to a trade school, many of which you can attend for free when your an employer will have all sorts of options for you to get training and go work for them. And by the way, you're not graduating with $50,000 in debt. Again, none of that having anything to do with your skin color. In fact, getting into college now, if you're a white male, is probably the most difficult thing to do. Reportedly at Home Depot here, talking about white privilege. Again, I'm not triggered. if you work at Home Depot and you're a part-timer, wage, hourly employee, I can't imagine it feels good to have your employer investing money to tell you you're garbage. If you don't have to explain that your spouse is the same gender, what does that have to do with buying conduit? What does that have to do with buying drill bits or selling them? This is literal propaganda, in trying to indoctrinate their employees. I couldn't even tell you what would have happened if while working at Office Max, making $7.25 an hour, I think was the most I ever made there, if they sent out this crap. We would have quit immediately. Half the people working there would have quit. Like, it went right across the street and worked at Best Buy, which is also woke. But like, I'm saying, like, jobs now, by the way, are as easy to get as ever. So at what point are people going to stop letting their companies spend money on this garbage? Sure, the CEO of the company probably has some daughter or son that's a gender studies major, and they nepotism them a job for 150 grand a year, and this is what they work on. But I can't imagine telling your employees, who you pay hourly, and I guarantee not enough, that they are privileged. Think about that. You're some retail office place or retail place selling construction equipment who I guarantee does not pay your employees enough. And now you're telling them that they also have this mysterious thing called privilege when they're busting their back, loading heavy stuff, salt bags into customers' cars. You want to tell them that they have privilege? It's absolutely absurd. And they're getting the rightful amount of pushback and blowback. I mean, the original tweet, from a friend that works at Home Depot, this is the kind of crap on display in the lunchroom. Staffers were also told in the notice that if you're confident that the police exist to protect you, you have white privilege. It's not clear if the packet of information is simply informational or if it was part of a group learning exercise or if employees had to actually fill out the privilege forms and turn them into management. The U.S. spokeswoman for the Home Depot told the Post that the information was not, quote, officially sanctioned as part of any required company training, but you spent money on it and you put it up in the break room. Look, I can pay 10 times what I should be for a 2x4 from no less than 20 places within a half hour of me. I have no problem not giving my money to Home Depot. What a joke. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.